Kerrie, welcome back to the Retail Whore podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to chat with you again on here.
Love catching up with people we've spoken to because there's so much. I mean, like we talked almost a year and a half ago, I think, and so much changes. And in that time, you have also put out a book, but I want to talk a little bit about, reintroduce yourself to everyone. Give everyone a little explanation about yourself. And then I want to kind of dive into some of what we've been talking about off camera.
Amazing. My name is Kerrie Fitzgerald, and I'm the founder of Ecommerce Society, and I work with product-based business owners and direct-to-consumer online stores, and I help them with marketing strategy, visibility, and all those fun things. And I live in Washington, closer to you now. And yeah, so those are a few things. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Yes, Ecommerce Society podcast as well. And you've been on that, which is super fun. So I'm definitely very multi-passionate. I do a lot of different things, and I really love just kind of going through the process of learning something, whether it's like starting a Shopify business starting a product-based business, or like building Shopify websites, doing a book, having a YouTube channel. I really love I think I'm a dabbler. Like I love dabbling in all these little things and then figuring out like which of those things you really like to do, and then you can kind of do more. So,
well, your secret sauce is definitely helping people with e-com. And I know that, that's something that so many retailers struggle with because, I mean, as we talked about during the pandemic, that was like where got their pants caught down around their ankles, like not realizing like, oh shit, my website isn't running, or it's not easy to navigate through. You wrote a book so a little background. We met at UPP, and at the end of it, there was an exercise, and it was I will, and you had to fill in what you will or what the commitment you were going to make. And you are probably one of the only people that I know from following actually fucking did it. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I thought that was a great exercise as well. I wrote on the I will wall. That's like a really mouthful to say. I said, I will, I forget exactly what it said actually, but it was something along the lines of like, I will publish my book, Customer Obsession, by the end of 2023. So I had got the idea in my head before then, and I was thinking about it, but I didn't take any action. And I knew that I really wanted to write a business book, a specific framework that I really believe helped me scale my first business, which I had a pet subscription box business called the Dapper Dog Box. There were certain things I did right with that business that really made it grow and enabled it to grow quickly. And I knew that what I discovered wasn't an intuitive thing that most product-based business owners know. And so I knew I wanted to share this specific framework in a book, and I wrote it on that piece of paper. I put it up there. And then I also announced, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but when they brought around the microphone and they asked, okay, like, I'm not sure if you were still there at that point, but they said, everyone who wants to tell everyone what they wrote on the wall. And I like announced it to a room of a few hundred people that I was going to write a business book. And, I swear to God, it made me, I got home, I got started. It made me accountable, because you never want to write something down or announce it to a group of people and then you don't do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, if I announce something in front of a room of hundreds of people, which is not like me, I'm actually really shy in real life and I'm very introverted. So I'm not the type to do that kind of thing. But the second I said it out loud and I wrote it down, I got to work, and having that time frame in mind too. So the UPP was May 2022. So I said I had to finish my book and launch it by the end of 2023. So I had like a timeline, in mind. And I thought that was really important as well. Not just, I'll write a book someday, because someday literally is meaningless. It's worthless. It's shit. So the timeline was important there.
Well, you spoke it out to the universe, and they always say, as soon as you put it out into the universe, it counts. It's like mine, sadly, I put it out there, and it was like, I'm still not thinking that's going to happen or create what I had mentioned, but a whole lot of shit happened last year that was not on that piece of paper and was not the plan. So it's interesting to see how life has changed. And, really quick, because you didn't mention it, you had the Dapper Dog Box, you sold that business, you've been in e-commerce strategy, you wrote the book, and all of a sudden you decided to come back into product development again. What the hell? When I saw that, I'm like, it's amazing, but like, what the heck? Like, how do you have this time? Like, that blew me out of the water.
I'm dying. I mean, to be honest with you, I never thought I would do another product-based business. I don't know. Like, I think when you have one, it's so labor and time intensive with like shipping product out and all the things. But something in the back of my head was sort of saying, like, I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready to dive into it again. And we can talk a little bit about what we were talking about off camera of like how I'm pivoting a few things, in my life and in my business. But I had this like feeling I'm starting to crave that product-based business thing. And then I actually was recording a podcast with someone and we were talking about business ideas. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to just say this. And I don't know what, again, like I have these weird things that happen and I just like, all of a sudden have to talk about something. And I feel like I need to talk about this. I was like, I actually have an idea for a product-based business that I kind of want to do. Like, I kind of really want to do it, but I don't know if I'm ready or blah, blah. And so I told her the idea and it was like, I want to start a dog poop bag business. And I already could envision it in my head. So I could envision the entire thing, the brand. I said, I want to call it Oh Shit. That's not actually the name, but I was like, in my head, it was going to be called Oh Shit. And instead of the I, it was going to be an apostrophe. And it was going to be like bold and fun and like just really cool. And I got off the podcast with her and it was like that set things in motion. And then here's the ironic part. So I'm also working on a software business that's going to be helping e-commerce product-based businesses with strategy, kind of looking at your business, going through all your analytics and data and figuring out what are the issues with your business and like what you can do to fix them. And like nothing really exists like that out there. So I'm starting this business as well at the same time. And I had a call with a branding company because I was like, I'm going to get someone else to do the branding this time. I don't want to DIY it, So I had the call with them. And during the call, we were talking about doing branding for the software business. And I'm chatting with them and I'm like, you know what? I was like, God, you guys would do such a great job with, I have this other idea for a dog poop bag company. I was like, you guys, and this was in January, mind you, it's April now. So this was just a few months ago. I wasn't even going to do this. I was like, you guys would do such a great job with this dog poop brand I have in mind. It's colorful and bright and da-da-da. And I got off the call with them and I told my husband, I'm like, I kind of want to start a dog poop bag business. What do you think? And he was like, he jumps into the boring stuff. Oh, well, just make sure there's margins and this and this. I'm like, okay. And then I literally was like, decided that one day, again, saying it out loud, talking about it with someone, I knew just, I'm going to start a dog poop bag business. And so, that's how that started. It was like random, but now that I'm doing it, it is so fun because now I get to be the person starting a business who knows what the fuck she's doing. I am not the beginner. I'm not the, like, how do I do a website? How do I do packaging? How do I start a Shopify store? I know how to do all these things. I've been in this space now for 8+ years. And to be able to start a business where you know what to do, it's a different thing. It is so awesome and so fun. And I'm basically creating this dog poop bag business that is unlike anything out there. It'll be fun. It'll be bright. It'll be colorful. And it is like, it's been a dream to bring to life. Like I can't even explain how fun it is. And you would think, oh, a dog poop bag, that's so random. But if you look at dog poop bag companies, what do you envision in your head? Boring, tacky green, tacky paw prints and bones over everything. And I'm doing the opposite. I'm taking dog poop bags and sort of, Poppy, like the brand Poppy meets Bark Box.
I love it.
Fun, exciting, vibrant, colorful, full of personality, like no tackiness, no boring.
Poop bags.
Yes. So it's been so fun and so exciting. And yeah, I'm loving every second about it, but like it kind of happened very randomly, but maybe not so randomly. Maybe it was meant to be this way. So
I think I'm putting that in the universe, but I also think that following what brings you joy and what lights you up is what's really important. And so we're going to totally change direction on what what I planned on talking about. You had your business. You've been in e-com strategy and marketing forever. You had developed programs. Like you went hard, and you went hard with this book. I mean, you when you and I had side conversations back and forth through DMs, we were talking about just how fucking hard it was and how many hours and like the demand of having to put a book out. And it's out, it's launched, and now you're burnt. And, talk about that, because we talked off camera that no one talks about this in business. Like, few people do. And like you said, some people talk about it after they're over the hump and everything's all good and shiny again. But no one talks like in the middle of what you're going through about how tired you are and how burnout you are and what that looks like and making hard decisions, like deciding whether you're going to go forward with something that's taking time and energy and money. But then I look at you talking about the poo bags, and clearly that's something that lights you up. So talk about the burnout and all of that, because you're literally in the middle of it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what you said is spot on. So I sold my product-based business in 2019. And then I kind of was like, what do I do next? And I was, I thought, I need to have balance in life. Cause I started my first business when my son was like 7 months old or something. Like the average person who just has a tiny human does not think, I should start a business. I don't know. But anyway, I started that business, and, by the end, I was very burned out with that business as well, but like a different burnout. And I eventually thought, okay, I've learned so many cool things from having this business, and I've done a lot of things right. I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of things wrong, but I made a lot of really good decisions. And, I grew the business from nothing to hundreds of thousands of sales per year. I didn't use advertising. I didn't use, I never paid an influencer or any of those things. It was all organically. It was all through like really being obsessed with my customers and providing incredible experience for them and all that, in addition to having a good product, which is literally what my book is about. But I sold that business, and then I was like, you know what? I want to help other people grow their business. And so I started my current business, which is now called Ecommerce Society. I changed the name a couple times. It used to be called Marketing by Kerrie, which is, like the worst name of all time. So I have done, I think I've created in the last 3.5 years, 15 courses, 3 or 4 group coaching programs, 1 million workshops, and this and that, and like all the damn things. I mean, I have like kind of killed myself the last 4 years creating so much stuff. And while, I don't have regrets, I think you have to kind of do these things. I think I was just throwing spaghetti at a wall, trying to figure out like how can I help people? What do I like talking about? Because I do like to talk about a lot of different things. I'm not someone who like only wants to talk about email marketing or only, website design or something. I definitely like a lot of things, and I know how to teach on a lot of things. But yeah, so I then came up with my book called Customer Obsession in October 17th. I remember the exact date. 2023. And that book sucked the life out of me to write and put it out into the world and like be okay with it being like, it's a weird thing writing a book. Like I'm not afraid to do a lot of things. I'm not afraid to put myself out there, but I think a book is different because it's so personal. Like even though it's a business book, it feels very personal to put something like that out into the world and like know that if you have a book on something like Amazon, you are going to get ripped to shreds by people. Like people are going to say the worst. I mean, just in general with Amazon, like people often buy stuff and they don't know you. So they're like, they just write awful things. But just in general, like you're opening yourself to get ripped apart by people and their opinions. And I don't know, I just felt afraid by that for some reason. But, the book was a lot of pressure because I wanted it to be out, and I ran into a lot of issues and a lot of problems with the self-publishing and getting it put out, and the pre-sale or like the pre-order stuff wouldn't work. And I just ran into a lot of issues with it, which again, that's business and you will always go through problems. But when the book came out, and I was excited, and I'm still so proud of the book. I think I'm the most proud of all my business stuff. The book is number one. But once it was out into the world, it was just like, I don't know. It's almost like when you go on vacation and you come home and it's like you're on this high, and then then you go down and you're just like, okay, what's next? What do I have?
What do I do next?
What's the next thing that I'm going to be excited about? It's almost like you become an addict on creation and launching things. And like, I don't know, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's something where you're always doing these things. And then it's like, okay, I just put a book out into the world. What could I do now that is better than that? Something. And so, yeah.
I have like for big projects, and I wonder, other people have to feel like this. Big projects I do, like renovations or store openings like Raw Paradise. There's so much work in it, and that you're so immersed in it, and it's your eat, sleep, and drink this. Yeah. And then you do it, and it comes to life, and it's amazing. It looks so good, and then you walk away from it, and it's like, it's the weirdest. Like I said to Dave, it's the weirdest, feeling of I don't know. It's like withdrawal. Like I've been running on this adrenaline of just this high of getting it done. And I'm tired as hell, but it's a weird adrenaline. And I have to name thing. And then it's done. And then like you'd think you'd be like, okay, just relax and enjoy it. And I find myself like wandering around, like still with that energy and no place to put it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is the same for a lot of people in anything that you clicked. So I can
think so. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think because you're like you said, you're so in something and it's like this big thing, and then when it's done, you're like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Like we're pushed into this mode of like constant creation. And I think part of it is that we see what other people are doing, and we're like, oh, well, this person, launched 25 stores last year, or this person, she has 35 different group coaching programs. Like I should be able to do that too. So I think we're pushed into this like perpetual cycle of like, I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to do more. But like, yeah, once I got the book out, it like hit me like a ton of bricks right in the face. I felt it instantly. And it's hard to describe what like true burnout feels like, but I've thought I had it before, but I didn't actually, but I did this time. And I think I'm still in it. I'm better than I was a few months ago, but I just felt like someone had taken the creative part of my brain away from me for months. I literally, even now, I'm kind of like, I have no idea what, even for podcast episodes, I normally would be able to come up with a million ideas and episodes and like this and that, content creation, posting on Instagram, a million ideas all the time. And even today, I'm kind of like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say. I have nothing. And I think it's just, I feel like a part of me has like lost some creative energy, but I also think it's just because I think when you go through burnout, you then have to assess, like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing in my business? And I think it makes you assess, is what I'm doing worth it? Or should I be doing something else? And I think that's kind of my takeaway for it, is it made me realize and see in a different light a lot of things in my business that I actually haven't really been enjoying, but I've been doing it anyway because I didn't know what else to do. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. And I honestly believe like a blessing in disguise. I think you go through this shit because it forces you to actually sit down and assess your things, whether it's your business, your store, whatever you're doing. Do I actually like this or not? Is it actually worth my time? And if the answer is no, then it's like giving you permission to like close the door and move on to something else. Like life is short. We don't have to do the business that we've been doing. We can pivot and do something else and like take what we've learned and apply it to the next thing. So yeah, that's kind of my short snippet of burnout.
But I think a lot of people hang on to that because they're too afraid to pivot or make a decision. And I love that. I mean, and I'd said this off camera, is that I feel like with you stepping away or not doing as much e-commerce strategy and marketing with people, that was almost like your research and development time for you now to start creating these programs, which I'm sorry, I have huge respect for that. Like anybody that creates programs and like stuff like this, that is an app is mind blowing to me because that's so not my wheelhouse. So I think of coaching and doing that part of it and then writing a book and now creating this, I feel like those are the steps that you are supposed to be going on to get to this point. But I think also the universe burning you out, make you step back and kind of what I said I was doing. Like I've stopped doing a lot of these jobs and I've stopped pushing myself and filling every moment of time that I have with a job that maybe I don't want to do or I wasn't as passionate about just because I needed to see it be filled. And sitting back and letting stuff just kind of fall where it may be. I have to figure all the shit that I've been doing over all these years is kind of opening me up to what is the next step. But I think a lot of people get hung up in, including myself, like how am I going to pay the bills? Like I need some kind of income, and especially when you're freelance like us, like you own your company, I own my company, and you know, I think that fear is what a lot of people like stops them and keeps them doing these jobs that they don't want to do. But I love that the universe burns you out. I hate to say it, but I love that it burns you out in order for you to like look at what is important and what you do want to do and what clearly poop bags light you up, sister.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think it stinks when you're going through it and it's not fun. And, you know, I think to be honest, more people should talk about when they're going through those kind of things, because I feel like you hear people that talk about burnout, but it's like, oh, I went through burnout 2 years ago. Everything's great now. And it's glossed over, but I honestly feel like people probably go through it more often than we think, but you don't know what to do about it. Like, okay, I'm feeling burnt out. Like, what do I do? How do I fix it? How do I get through it? And I think clearly it's like the universe's way of also telling you you're doing too much. Like, calm the fuck down and like stop. Yeah. Stop. You don't need to do all the things. And I think with like often our personalities as entrepreneurs and people who have businesses, we think we like oftentimes want to do all the things. And because we can do them, like we have the gift of seeing something that we want to do and figuring out how to bring it to life, where the average person would say, oh, that would be really cool to have a podcast, or like, that would be really cool to like, you know, do a dog poop bag business. But it would stop right there. They would never go to the next steps because they wouldn't know what to do. And like people figuring out what to do to start something, the average person doesn't want to do that. And so it dies as like this dream or something where we're willing to put ourselves out there and figure it out and like trench through the goddamn mud to make something happen, which is like our superpower. It's amazing, but also you can't do a million things. And, you know, you talked about something with your business, like not being sustainable. And it's kind of the same thing. Like you can't do a million things every single day or every month and expect that you're not going to get burnt up from it. So
also, like, not to mention, like, I'm old. I mean, I'm older. I mean, it's like, I'm 58, and it's like you start thinking about, I hate to say it, and I never thought I used to think 40 was old when I was growing up with my mom. I was like, oh, she's 40. It's so old. It's like, and now it's like, I am a couple years away from 60, 60. That is fucking right. And my girlfriend was like, yeah, you can't, what you're doing is unsustainable, flying and driving and doing all this stuff and showrooms and blah, blah, blah. So, but I think that somewhere along the way, you have to listen to it and listen to your inner voice that says, whoa, like, what? And I'm grateful that you would talk about it. But I am super excited for what you're creating. Because we have 15 minutes left. And you probably need to go before that because you caught this. I'm going to ask you a couple questions because I really want people to buy your book, because your knowledge and what you bring to the table. I've said this before. I said this in your last podcast, is so invaluable to people that have retail stores, e-com. Like, it is so important. And that's your fucking secret sauce. So 3 things that every cult-like brand has.
So I think a cult-like brand has a few things, but I'll give you my top 3. So I think a cult-like brand has a really cool story. So a story that you publicly share. So it does not have to be your life story, but like, what made you start the business? Why did you start the business? What were you going through? That kind of thing. Like, everyone has to have a story. And you have to make sure that you are sharing it, and it's on your website, it's on your like Instagram highlights, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to have a story and you have to share it. Your story is what humanizes your business and makes someone want to buy from you and not Amazon. Like, we cannot be a faceless brand. The second thing that a cult-like brand has is, like the secret sauce. What makes your product different, unique, or special? And again, like, you have to showcase that. You have to share that on the places. You have to tell people why your poop bags are better than all the other boring poop bags, for example. And I think this third thing that every cult-like brand has is, and this is I'm going to give a caveat because not every brand has this, but I think this is like one of the most important things. Something like a purposeful mission. So something that stands for something bigger than just your product. And the easiest way to do that is if you donate a portion of sales to like a charity or a bigger organization, because one of the missions for your business is to like help people or help animals or help homeless people. I don't know, whatever. So I would say those are 3 cult-like brand strategies, but also a cult-like brand has a visibility strategy. Like Poppy, for example. I'm doing a case study. I'm preparing a case study on Poppy right now. I'm obsessed with them. They are, I would say, 2024, there is no other brand that is more innovative with marketing than Poppy. They are not complaining on Instagram being like, no one's buying our product. They are everywhere. They do pop-up events in places. They do commercials. They do radio ads. They do everything to get their product in front of people. I've never seen a brand, like a current brand, do that as well as them. They are so innovative and they're willing to try everything. And I love that so much about them. But like a cult-like brand, you will see them in multiple places, not just farting around on Instagram. Okay.
And then my last one is, what is your number 1 rule for building a brand that people obsess about? I ripped all this stuff off your Instagram page, by the way, because
I love it. I love it. I think being obsessed, whether you have a store or you have a product-based business, being obsessed with your customers, like, you have to treat customers so well. And you have to create an incredible customer experience. So again, in store, in person, obviously, like, that's your secret sauce. You make stores look absolutely beautiful with the merchandising and, the way that you design things. I know so many stores that I go to, they look like garbage. And again, that is creating a poor customer experience. The person's not going to want to come back to your store and they're probably going to walk out the door. If it's online and someone orders a package from your store and it shows up on your doorstep and it's like beautiful packaging, a really pretty unboxing experience, a little card insert that has a picture of the founder and like maybe her mission statement, why she does the business, blah, blah, blah. Customer experience, I think, is so freaking important and something that most businesses don't spend enough time on. They think of packaging as like a vehicle to send a product in. But in fact, your packaging is when someone opens that package, they get it in the mail, they're excited, they open it up. You actually hit them at their most excited and elated mindset. That's your chance to like get the customer to do something for you. And if you have a really good unboxing experience with packaging and the inserts and all that, you can get them to post a video of your product on social media. And then now your product is getting in front of their audience, free advertising. So I think, in general, being obsessed with your customers, and that means taking care of them, understanding, how could you make your product better? And creating a really good experience for them. So oftentimes that's through your website, your checkout process, your packaging, and then kind of everything in between. So I would say those are, that's my answer.
Cover all of this in the book. Tell people where they can find your book.
Thank you so much. So Customer Obsession is what it's called, and you can find it on Amazon or barnesandnobles.com. If you also go to my website, I have some links there, kerriefitzgerald.com. And I believe it is Customer Obsession. I should probably know the link to my own book, but I actually don't. But it's on my website. But most people will just go to Amazon. So I always just say Amazon first because it's, it's easy. It gets to you in like 2 days, which you gotta love.
Faceless brand. But they do a damn good job at selling stuff. Tell everyone the handles for your Instagram as well as for your podcast. Because your podcast is seriously has so much good content on it, as does your Instagram, that I think it's important everyone knows.
Thank you. My Instagram is kerrie.a.fitzgerald. So KERRIE.a.Fitzgerald. And then my podcast, I was like, wait, what was the second question? My podcast is E-commerce Society, and you can find that on Apple or Spotify. And definitely take a listen. It's definitely, I think we have 250 plus episodes now, which is crazy. I remember my first episode. It's so cringy. It is so cringy. But isn't it funny when you have a podcast and then all of a sudden it's like a year goes by, 2 years, and you have hundreds of episodes and
crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So anyway, but yeah, check it out.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you got a meeting right behind this, so I just thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be back.